You are sitting at a crowded dining table during a Diwali gathering. The noise is constant. Four different conversations are happening at once, mostly about the rising cost of private schools, the pressure of home loan EMIs, and a cousin who just financed a luxury SUV that everyone is quietly judging but outwardly praising. You are eating your food, nodding at the right times, and saying very little. Your uncle across the table complains about the stock market being a rigged game. You agree with him, you do not tell him that your portfolio generated more in passive dividend income this morning than he makes in a quarter. You do not tell him about the commercial godowns, the logistics fleet, or the fact that your total net worth crossed 15 reduced crores last month. You tell nobody. Not your parents, not your cousins, not the friends you grew up with. It is not because you are ashamed of what you have built, and it is not a performance you read about and decided to try. Here is what they never tell you about real money. The quiet is not humility, it is practical, load bearing protection. Once you understand the architecture of this silence, you will never understand why anyone would choose to operate differently. Here is exactly what happens the moment you break the silence. The moment someone in your family truly knows, not suspects from your clothes, but knows the actual number, something changes in their face that does not go back. You have seen it happen before, a quiet recalibration. They are still looking at you, but they are now looking at a door they didn't know existed, trying to figure out where it leads and whether they need to walk through it. They genuinely don't mean anything malicious by it, but the relationship has a new room in it now that both of you can feel and neither of you will name. Every conversation from that point carries the weight of that room. The warmth is still there, but a calculation is present underneath the warmth, like bedrock under soil. You cannot see it, but everything is sitting on top of it. When your aunt asks how you are doing, she is no longer just asking about your health. She is navigating around the fact that you possess the power to change her life with a single signature. And you are choosing not to. You cannot blame them. The financial system doesn't respond to who you are, it responds to what the account says about you. And your family is a system too. So you built a life designed not to be seen. Your car is a 2017 Honda City Silver with 85,000 kilometers on the dashboard. There is a dent on the rear passenger door from a parking pillar in 2021 that you never fixed. Your relatives see the dent and assume you are exactly where they are, careful, squeezed, running the same midnight math about bills that they are running. But that dent earns its place. It makes you easy to dismiss. And being easy to dismiss is a form of protection that no luxury vehicle can purchase at any price. While your cousins buy status to prove they are succeeding, you understand the invisible price tag. The price of their performance is the exact capital they needed to actually buy their freedom. They are trading the reality of wealth for the illusion of it. Your CA, Venkat, looked at your full portfolio of boring, cash flowing assets once and called it aggressively ordinary. He meant it as mild criticism. You knew in that moment you had found the right person for the job, because aggressively ordinary is exactly the camouflage you require. The hardest part of the silence is not the discipline it takes to keep it. The hardest part is watching the people you love struggle when you hold the exact tool required to fix it. 2 years ago, a close cousin came to you with a business idea. He wanted to open a franchise. He was exhausted by his corporate job, desperate for an exit, and needed 25 rubies legs. He asked you to co-sign the loan, assuming your credit was slightly better than his. You could have written the check in cash without checking your balance. You didn't write the check. That was not coldness. You need to understand that you didn't write the check because you had learned a long time ago that money without readiness doesn't build anything. It accelerates whatever is already there. If you fund someone who has not built the emotional or structural capacity to manage capital, the business fails and the friendship is the collateral when it goes wrong. Writing the check would have just been a shortcut to a disaster that ruins Diwali dinners for the next 2 decades. Instead of funding his business, you sat with him for 3 weekends. You walked him through the debt structure, reviewed the lease comps, and drilled the exit scenarios. You talked about it like someone who reads a lot, not like someone who does this every week. When he finally secured the financing on his own, he told you he didn't know how you knew all of that. The check would have just been a shortcut back to the same ceiling. Your name remains completely invisible. Your name on your apartment society board is real, but your name on the actual property deed is buried in an LLP that has never resolved to anything interesting when searched. The silence is the most important structural decision you will ever make. If you reveal the number, you become a bank. Every financial mistake made by an uncle, every medical bill from a distant relative, every bad business idea from a sibling suddenly becomes a moral test of your loyalty. By remaining invisible, you never have to say no because nobody knows there is a question to ask. But the loneliness is real, not the dramatic kind, not the kind you lie awake measuring, just a quiet, persistent fact. There are rooms inside your life that nobody gets to walk into, not out of cruelty, not by calculation, just because you've learned what happens when those rooms get opened to the wrong people and what it costs when they do. You sit across from people you love and listen to them worry about things you could resolve with a single text message. When you watch someone you've known for your entire life explain a financial concept to you that you mastered a decade ago, you smile, you ask questions, you let them arrive where they're going. It isn't dishonesty, it's the only version of the relationship that actually works. There are whole conversations you can never have, whole parts of yourself that exist in a room no one in your bloodline has ever been invited into. The people who flash their wealth to their relatives don't understand the market they are operating inside. They think they are buying respect. They are actually just changing their signal. When your signal changes from struggling relative to millionaire, the market recalibrates to match the signal you are now putting out. Relatives begin positioning themselves strategically. They agree with your opinions more than any person genuinely agrees with anyone. The access to you becomes managed, the conversations become frictionless. And if you are not paying careful attention, you mistake that frictionless availability for genuine connection. Then you start making long term emotional decisions based on a performance you mistook for reality. The men who lose at this game confuse strategic patience for genuine interest. The only way to survive family dynamics when you have built immense wealth is to ensure the external signals are stripped away entirely. You must look like the before picture. The before picture is your armor. The Diwali dinner is winding down. Your uncle finishes his complaint about the economy. You agree with him one last time. Pick up your keys and say your goodbyes. You walk out to the street, the air is cool. You unlock the dented Honda City. Tomorrow morning, while they are waking up to run the 2:47 a.m. math in the dark about their EMIs, a fleet of your boring businesses will open their doors and quietly generate cash without needing a single hour of your labor. You start the engine, you drive home in the quiet. No one asked you for a loan, no one treated you differently. The silence did its job, it is load bearing. You drive down the empty street, the engine hums, and that's enough, that's more than enough.